This is Nadja Bester, co-founder of AdLunam and AltCoin Observer, live here at Bangkok WikiExpo with Nick Garvin, World Metaverse Council Member. Nick, welcome. Super excited to be talking to you today because we are going to be discussing something that I think everyone wants to hear about. You're in Web3, you're building innovative products. How do you make sure that that company survives?
That's a great question. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure. The event has been fantastic. It's so much fun. So great to connect with everybody. That's the topic of conversation when you're networking, right? How do you sustain these things? How do you make it through the bull market and the bear market? What happens when the hype dries up or the community is not sustainable? And I think it comes back to every startup's core values, right? Whether you're into gaming or metaverse, whether you're into RWAs or DeFi, if you have a clear vision and you have some core values that you've identified and you're very transparent with your community, they'll be there with you for the thick and the thin. They'll be there for the bull market, the bear market. What you can't get caught up in is the hype and over-promising and under-delivering, because that I've seen over and over. It doesn't attract long-term users. It may give you good speculators. It may give you a quick pump, but ultimately your reputation is on the line, and you have to figure out, like, do you really want to go down that easy money road, or do you want to, look at what does it mean to be a responsive startup to your community? What does it mean to be reciprocal with your value add and then the value that you're getting back, right? So I think there's a lot of elements that you can take from Web 2, startups and entrepreneurship.
It's been around for a long time.
Yeah, it works, right?
Some people know what they're doing some aspects.
Don't think that you need to throw a token on everything. Don't think that you need to ride the latest hype train of AI or whatever, because at the end of the day, if you're solving real world problems, then the people will come to you, right? Don't chase it, but make sure that you don't stray too far from your core values.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So instead, I will ask you another very difficult question.
Nice.
Is it still really a money-making industry?
Right. So I'd say there's opportunities everywhere, but we're not in easy mode anymore, right? Like, this is 2024. It's almost a subset of itself between difficult mode and extra difficult mode, right? Nobody knows what these cycles are anymore, because I think we've deviated a little bit from the traditional one, right? That being said, though, I think each cycle you see a lot more people become builders, and I mean, it was mentioned today at the expo. The market is saturated with builders. There's so many talented people in this space. So when you have a concentrated amount of talented people, then yes, there's money to be made. That doesn't mean it's going to come down from the sky, right? It just means that, like, if you're building those products, if you stay true to yourself, if you are following the blueprint of look at successful companies in the past, right? Like, they can disrupt, but they have a course that they don't deviate from.
A North Star.
A North Star, yeah. As long as you have your North Star and you're passionate about it and you have that conviction, then yes, I think there's money to be made. There's not money to be made to just playing the casino, and I think that's good for the space, because it separates it allows us to mature, and it gives us more opportunity to get mass adoption,
I'm only asking you difficult questions today. Will we ever see mass adoption?
Not without education, not without somebody bridging that digital divide. That digital divide is so big right now,
and growing,
and there are. If you look at, like, what's happening in the last year or so, there's a lot of people that have maybe bought into the hype of meme coins, or they think altcoin season is coming around, or they're in it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. For the average user, for retail, for the person that's on the fence, that's only going to create more distrust. That's only going to fragment the space as well. I think mass adoption will only come when we move from a player versus player into a player help player, right? Like from competition to collaboration, right? Until we get to that, we're going to be arguing over which chain is better. We're going to be arguing over things about gas fees. And then your grandma or your mom or someone's going to be put off because they're not going to understand, you know?
So now I'm going to ask you a final easy question.
Oh, I like it.
Say something nice for the audience. Let's end on a positive high note.
Honestly,
no, but what are your, if you look at the contextual environment that we are in, geopolitically things are insane. In the industry, things are promising but broken, you know, on its way but messy. I mean, we are in a very weird position. So for people out there, including you and I, it's a strange world we are living in. What are your positive thoughts? How do we get what we should get out of all these changes?
I think the positive thought for us and everyone who's been in this space for a while is to remember why we got into this space. We got into this space because it was almost those libertarian values, or almost a rebellion towards the systems that we saw that were slowly eroding, the legacy systems that were falling apart. We looked and we were crazy enough to seek out other alternatives. And, you know, they talk about first they fight you, or first they laugh at you, then they fight you, and, you know, and then they win.
Then they invite you to go speak at the university.
And then you win. Like, but I think, like, really it means, like, we're used to it, right? We may have seen it earlier than others, but the rest of the world is starting to understand that maybe those traditional systems that were there before they were even born and had a chance to have a voice in it, maybe there's another way. And I think that is the path towards decentralization. And I think that is something that beyond crypto, the entire world will benefit from. When we start to be more transparent, when we start to be, you know, more decentralized, those are the essence of blockchain and crypto, but it's also the essence of, like, where we're going, I think. And that's my hope, that's my optimism, is that we've seen this, we've been here before, and it's our job to kind of help others along the way.
I love that, because I think ultimately everything comes down to perspective, and it takes a whole new way of looking at things to understand that there's multiple perspectives to something you've believed your entire life, as did your parents, as did your grandparents. There's only one way to look at it. And now it's like, wow, there's another way. It's a different way. And it takes time, and it's difficult. But I think the fact that people are, no matter how difficult it is, for whatever reason, soldiering on. And I think what you said about, you know, remembering why you were attracted to it in the first place.
Right.
Yeah, the money is attractive, of course, to anybody. But if it's only money attracting you, I mean, it's not really an attraction. If you are attracted to someone based on physical appearance alone, it's not the basis for a relationship.
Yeah, it won't last.
Similarly in crypto and in Web3.
Exactly.
Nick, it's been so amazing talking to you. I think that, you know, when you talk about the difficulties that startups are facing, there are so many different aspects to this. But if you could, as a final thought, kind of highlight what you think the number one struggle is, and perhaps, you know, if there's some sort of solution, what do you propose? What do we do about it?
Being consistent, right? I mean, we often hear, right? Ideas and dreams, they're free, they're easy. Execution, that's hard. Consistency, that's even harder, right? So find your North Star, find your reason to be consistent, that makes you want to get up and do it, even if the market is red, right? You know, even when the sentiment is bad, even when everyone is thinking, no, that's not going to work, right? So that would be my thing, is keep going and be consistent.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.